and welcome to episode 13 of the Tea and Possibilities podcast. I'm Nikki, and this is a podcast all about knitting, crochet, crafting, all the things, and it's coming to you this week from Southsea in Portsmouth on the south coast of England. You can find me online on Instagram and Twitter at hippie_Nikki. I'm on Ravelry as Nikki Hippie, and you can also find the Tea and Possibilities group if you search for it under the groups tab on Ravelry. As always, there will be links to everything I mention in the show notes, which are on my blog, and the links to everything will be just down there. Thank you so much if you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back, and if you are a new viewer, welcome and thank you for giving me a shot. Today's tea, I think it might be in a mug you haven't seen before. It's my Knitting is Kind of My Thing mug. I might have used it last week, can't remember. I have a lot of mugs. This was actually a gift when I left my last job in London, so it's a little bit precious. It's got full of good memories, and the tea, that was my first sip and it's really nice. It is Twinings Moroccan Mint with a hint of cardamom, and the hint of cardamom is really nice, really good. That's quite an unusual combination, I think, but that's really tasty. This was actually sent to me by Amy of the Little Tailoress podcast, so thank you. Absolutely delicious. I'm always saying that I see these amazing boxes of tea and I think, oh, that sounds really nice and I'd really like to try that. But I always kind of hold back because I could end up with a whole box of something I really don't like. So it was really nice to get a couple of little tasters from Amy, because now I know I like this one, I will be buying a box of it. Just a very quick reminder that the Best Year Ever Cow and the Wardrobe Project both kicked off on the 1st of January. I am loving what you guys are sharing in the threads. Absolutely beautiful projects so far and really lovely stories to go along with them. I am crazy busy at the moment, what with commuting for my job, coming down to Portsmouth quite regularly to see Rich. So I don't have as much time as I would like to get into the thread, but I do read everything. I just can't always respond as much as I would like, but I'm really enjoying following you guys' progress. It's really inspiring. I thought I would kick off this episode with some happy post. I don't have a post segment, perhaps I need to create one, but I was incredibly lucky this week and received some really, really sweet packages in the post, which I would love to share with you. The first package that I received was from Rachel of the Crafty Historian podcast. I believe I've mentioned her podcast before. I really enjoy it. History is one of my favourite things. I love to read historical novels, factual accounts, as well as period dramas and documentaries. I absolutely love them. There was a great one on at Christmas with Lucy Worsley about the 6 wives of Henry VIII, which has been done to death to a certain extent, but was very interesting because she didn't actually rely on the stereotypes that we remember of these women, which was really nice. So she gave a lot more rounded account of them, and I found that incredibly interesting. But enough about documentaries. This is supposed to be about post. First thing that Rachel sent me is absolutely brilliant and will be going on here as part of my set for the future. I say set, it's not a set, it's my dining table and my bookcase. But it sounds so much more professional, doesn't it, if I say, oh, it's part of my set. But she painted me this picture, which was inspired by the podcast. Isn't it beautiful? It's got this brilliant like knitted background with a little cup of tea. And can I just say, this is the cutest little teacup. I have lots of sturdy mugs, but no very dainty little teacups apart from one glass one that I've got to go with my glass teapot. And this is so cute, so sweet, and I'm really, really grateful, Rachel, thank you. But there was more from the lovely Rachel. She also sent me a book, which I didn't bring with me because I had limited space in my bag, and I'm reading a fairly chunky book at the moment. So I did leave that at home, but I will link it in the show notes. It's The Little Dress Shop, I think it's called. I will double check because I'm terrible with titles, and I will link it in the show notes. But she also made me my own little Star Trek project bag. Isn't it just so cute? I think this would be the perfect size for socks if I ever got round to making them. And she's lined it with this pale yellow because I love Data so much, and he wears the yellow uniform of the engineering departments. So that's why it's been lined with yellow. And I don't know if you can see, but it's actually full of really beautiful little minis. I really like this one. It's like My Little Pony colours. So we've got this little rainbow. We've got another sort of ever so slightly paler rainbow. We've got purple. I really like this. It reminds me of like the American flag or the Union Jack, this one. I really like that one. I think of these two as quite English colours. They remind me of misty mornings in fields, and they feel very English to me, these two. And a lovely baby pink. We talked about how much I like pink, but I don't really wear pastels. So I'm really enjoying having these little pops of pink in my blanket. And then we've got this gothic purple, black and grey, which I might have to save and knit into my blanket at Halloween because it just reminds me of Halloween so much. And then, what an absolute treat, Rachel sent me some of her leftovers from Stranded Dye Works, and you all know how much I love Stranded, and this is absolutely gorgeous. I think this is one of her ocean rainbow type colourways. I would have to look it up and double check, but that's what it feels like, and that is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And when I master socks, I'm getting a pair just like this. Rachel also sent me this really sweet little card. She does talk a lot about scrapbooking on her podcast, so I think she actually made this herself, and it's really cute. I really like it. I actually drew Rachel as my pen pal for the pen pal element of the Best Year Ever Cal, so I was very lucky and very spoilt, and I'm really looking forward to putting together a little return package for her. So yeah, I'm really glad that the pen pal Cal is so much fun, and I hope you guys are having as much fun with it as I am. My next package was from Amy of the Little Tailoress. She included the Moroccan mint tea that I have been drinking here, and she also included this love tea from Pucker, which is rose, chamomile and lavender, which I think I've had before because it sounds very familiar. It certainly smells quite familiar, so I'm looking forward to having that. Because it's got lavender and chamomile in it, I might have that in an evening because it's nice and soothing before you go to bed. So again, I always like receiving tea, thank you. But what she actually intended to send me was a copy of her first pattern. She was aware from watching the podcast that I was looking to sew more and was looking for really simple projects to start that would be really effective and very useful in my wardrobe. And she asked if I would like a copy of her pattern, which is for beginners, and it is the Emmeline tee. And this is by Little Tailoress, and I will link to her in the show notes so you will be able to have a look at this yourself and maybe treat yourself to one. And as you can see, it's just a very simple tee. It's got the different kinds of sleeves here on version 1 and 2, and version 3 is actually sleeveless, which I really like because that's something I've been pinning quite a lot lately, like little sleeveless tops with nice, not fitted skirts, but skirts with a nice waistline that then flare out, and I think that'd be really nice for the summer. And I just wanted to show you this quickly because I think that the packaging of this is beautiful. I have bought paper patterns before, and while they've come in a really nice sturdy envelope and have been really nice quality, this is, I think, exceptional. So as you can see, it's got all the information, the pictures on the front, all the supplies and the sizing on the back. And I don't know if you can see, but it's in quite a sturdy sort of book-like cardboard folder. And when you open it, as you can hear, it's closed with Velcro, which is brilliant because it means it's securely closed. And there you go, when you open it, it's got all of the information about how to find her here, and everything is just slotted in to the side here. So you've got the full pattern just here, and you've got a really sturdy book for instructions. This is not in any way basic. This is so comprehensive. This is absolutely amazing. It's got, you know, how to lay them out on the fabric, information about wrong side and right sides of the fabric, tips for sewing with knits, how to do it with woven. This is like really, as you can see, there's loads of information in here. And I don't feel scared of this pattern because of it. I'm a fairly semi-fearless sewer, but I do like having backup. And a couple of times with beginner patterns, there haven't quite been enough instructions for me, and I have had to go and YouTube how to do a technique. I don't think I'm going to have to with this. So yeah, I would heartily recommend Amy's podcast. It's absolutely lovely. This is fantastic, and I cannot wait to get started with it. But again, she didn't only send me tea and a pattern, I also got some yarn. She did send me a little card as well, thank you Amy. And just gathering my little bits of yarn. Here we go. There they are. I really love this as a colour palette. Like, these three are just perfect together. I really like this yellow. I'm really into yellow at the moment, but I can't really wear it because of my colouring. But I'm thinking a yellow skirt, as it's not near my face, might be really nice, and I really like this shade. So I really like those together, and then with this pop of red, I just think they look great. I might actually put them together in my Cozy Memories blanket. And then attached to this little pink one is a teeny tiny little doe. It's a progress keeper, and I'm sure that Amy sent this to me because of my love of Harry Potter and the little silver doe of Snape's Patronus. And if you didn't, that's just what I'm interpreting it as, because Potter for life. I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Amy and Rachel. You have absolutely thoroughly spoiled me, and I really do appreciate it. And I will be linking to everywhere you can find them on the wide world of the internet, and I really encourage you to check them out. They are lovely, lovely people. But now let's move on to Whipped Up. I have been basically monogamous this week, which is unheard of. I tend to kind of dip in and out here and there, which is probably why I don't have that many finished objects, because I do a row here on this and a row here on that, so I don't ever make chunks of progress. But because there is a deadline on this, I am trying to be as monogamous as I can and get a big bulk of it done before I start diving into anything else. And yes, it is my Crochet Girl Gang baby blanket. So I showed you the first square last week. That's it all finished. That's the very first square of the crochet along. That's it finished. I really enjoyed doing this. I unpick a lot with crochet. I don't crochet often enough and my tension is terrible. But I have finished this yellow section. So I have 4 of the yellow squares and 2 yellow triangles. So these will go at the top and bottom of the column, so that they will fill in the gap, so it won't be a serrated. Serrated is knives, not blankets. But it won't be a jaggedy edge. It will be perfectly smooth thanks to these triangles. As you can see, I haven't woven in the ends. Best of intentions, best laid plans, just didn't do it. Just wanted to get on with the next square. It'll come back to haunt me later, no doubt, but that's a problem for future Nikki. So I actually finished those off on Thursday, and they were in my little bag that I bring to Portsmouth, and I actually started teaching someone at work to crochet on Friday while we watched the inauguration, and I, for some reason, just started crocheting round and round and round a little granny square and didn't pull out my actual crochet. Probably because I just wanted something mindless and didn't want to have to think. So I actually started the next square on the train, and I finished up all 5 of the centre parts last night. So I did 3 on the train. It's about an hour and a half train, and I did those 3. And I did 2 in the evening while we watched the last episode of A Series of Unfortunate Events, which, side note, brilliant. there isn't a Hibby spoiler section this week, but that is brilliant and you should absolutely watch it if you've got Netflix. Neil Patrick Harris, I mean, I don't need to tell you that he's amazing because he just is. But yeah, sorry about the tangent, but you should definitely check it out. And this time I decided to do something a little bit different. Before, I was actually doing the whole bit and then moving straight onto the border, which is grey and then whatever colour you're using and then grey again. But that felt super slow with the yellow squares, so I thought, as I did with the mini Weasley jumpers, that I would batch them. And it went super quickly because I think by the third one I had the pattern memorised. So, you know, I could remember the kind of last round on the second one, and by the third one I had it memorised, and it was brilliant. So when I came to sit down at home, I didn't even have to reference the pattern, I just got straight on with it. And I've already got 5, and I've only got to do the borders. And I'm actually worried that I didn't bring enough with me. I thought after last week, where I was quite slow working on the yellow squares, oh, you know, I'll only bring the leftover grey and the orange. And crochet eats yarn, and I'm looking at this and thinking there might not be enough here to do all the border. And I did not bring another project with me. I know, it was really stupid. I should have brought another grey and the next colour, but I didn't, because I honestly didn't think that I would get them done that quickly. And I may be panicking about nothing. I may end up finishing the borders early next week, but yeah, I am slightly concerned that I'm not going to have anything to do in the evenings and on the train. I have a book, I have podcasts, but you know, not any time that I could be making things is time wasted if I'm not, really. So yeah, wish me luck. Hope that I have enough with me, and next time I will just bring more, because, you know, even if you don't use it all, at least it's there just in case. Now, while I have been monogamous with yarn, it hasn't been the only project that I have been working on this week. I finally spent some time and put my thoughts for the wardrobe project down, my wardrobe project, I should say, and I put them down in my lovely notebook. And the thing that you can see sticking out of here is an outline that I downloaded and printed off, and this is what I'm going to use to draw my ideas onto. So there you go. I tried to find one that was fairly similar to my shape, but unfortunately fashion templates tend to be fashion shaped. So while, you know, she is a little on the pear-shaped side, she is most definitely longer legged than I am. I've got fairly long legs, but I'm not entirely sure she's in proportion. But it's just something for me to doodle on. So that's put to one side until I'm ready to do the drawing. But what I have been doing, and you won't be able to see because at the moment it's fairly boring, I have to say, because it's lots of note taking. There you go. But I have been using the Wardrobe Architect. I've worked on the first 3 parts of the Wardrobe Architect by Colette. Part 1 was about making your style more personal. So they broke that down into history, philosophy, culture and community. So the idea here was to look at your history, you know, look at the things you used to like, look at the things that you went through and you tried. For example, were you a goth? Something like that. What is your history like? What is your philosophy? So how do you want to dress? So for me, my philosophy was I wanted to be more thoughtful, not in only how I put my clothes together, but in the things that I chose to buy. I also wanted to buy from more independent people, so my accessories and things like that, try and source them from smaller businesses rather than larger ones. And I also felt that I needed to include my love of handmade in there. So I wanted to wear more handmade to reflect that love that I have. When it comes to culture and community, I reference my friends a lot. I have some incredibly fashionable friends. They look amazing and I love what they do. Unfortunately, I don't have their patience when it comes to things like vintage shopping, but it was really helpful to kind of go, why do I love the way she dresses? And it was consistently because they were different and they were comfortable. And that is what I really admired, which was really useful for me to break down. And then it actually got you down into really important things that you need to consider. What activities do you do? What is your location like? And what are your feelings towards your body? So, for example, I work in an office, I commute, and I like working out and going out with friends. So I have it's a fairly active lifestyle. It's quite a long walk to the station. It's very uncomfortable being on a tube. So for example, I couldn't wear a lot of very heavy woolen things, even in the depth of winter, because it can get very, very hot on the tube. So from that I've taken, okay, so I need to consider more layered outfits. Things like weekends, I am usually running around quite a lot, filming the podcast, going to appointments, seeing friends. And so I have to consider that when I'm building my wardrobe. I can't have outfits that take an elaborate amount of time to put together, that need a lot of maintenance throughout the day. I want throw on and go things. Location wise, I have to consider the fact that I do not live in a hot country. It does get very hot here in the summer, for me anyway, because this is where I'm from. It feels very hot to me. And I really don't dress very well for the summer. For about the 3 or 4 weeks that it's properly blazing, I'm just at a loss. So I do need to consider that. But otherwise, a lot of my style can be helped by layering, just because then I can layer down for the summer and up again for spring, autumn, winter. So that's something I'm looking into. And taking a moment to consider my body image was really helpful too. What are the parts of myself that I really, really like and I want to show off more? What are the parts that I'm not comfortable showing off? And that led me to consider that, okay, I like this style, but I like it on other people because I'm actually not comfortable in that. Which was really helpful because a lot of the times I've bought, short dresses or mini skirts, and I'm actually not that comfortable in skirts that I feel like I'm constantly having to pull down. So I just need to stop buying mini skirts, basically. We then looked at defining a core style. This was a lot more about feelings. So I had to think about things like, how do I feel when I'm wearing my favourite clothes? How do I feel when I'm not comfortable in an outfit? Like, how do I not want to feel? So for example, when I wear my favourite outfits, I feel really fun and happy and confident. Whereas when I'm wearing outfits that I look in the mirror, like the jeans and the jumper situation last week, I feel kind of frumpy, boring, completely unnoticed. And that is not how I want to feel. So it's really useful to define how you don't want to feel. And then you can consider clothes more carefully. And if you have like a reaction like, I don't know about that, it's a bit boring. And you remember, actually boring is one of those words that I don't want to feel. So that was really, really useful. I really liked that element. The bit that I found really difficult for part 2 of defining a core style for the wardrobe architect was choosing a style icon. I'm not super into celebrities or fashion or anything like that, so I didn't really have a point of reference. There are a few bloggers whose style I really like, and those that the people that I ended up writing down. I did jot down Emma Watson because I find I really do like what I see her wearing very often. I like that she experiments with her hair and she's done all that in the public eye. And I always think she looks immaculate but comfortable, which that really appeals to me. Then we looked at words that reflect styles that I like but aren't necessarily for me. So words like elegant, sophisticated, refined. These are all words that reflect styles that I think are amazing. Those women who just look so elegant, so stunning, and completely in control. And that is such a great look, and it really appeals to me. But it also feels to me like a lot of work. And as I've said several times, I just want to be able to wear things that I'm comfortable in and go. I don't want it to be a palaver. So while I admire that, it's not quite for me. Looking at the words that I want to describe my style was really fun. I actually have a really long list here of words, but I would just pick out a few. So there was quirky, fun, layered, bright, assured, sleek, poised, handmade, cozy, detailed. And from those, I distilled that down into 5 words. We've got quirky, assured, simple, cozy, and detailed. And I totally get that detailed and simple are 2 very odd things to have on the same list, describing the same style. But what that means for me, the simplicity comes from having things that mix and match easily, nice simple outfits that I can put on and not have to worry about maintaining throughout the day. And the detail is what elevates it to that quirky, very me look. So, you know, the fun brooch or the bracelet or the necklace or things like that, the little details that just make it personal. And that's what I meant by detailed. I then got stuck into filling out the table that breaks down the types of clothing that you like. So it's got things like skirt, tops, trousers, coats down one side, and it's got then the type of fit, so very fitted, length, all that kind of thing. And you go through it and you mark each one out of 10, 10 being your absolute favourite, 0 being you would never wear it. And it was really interesting to me because I love a lot of things on other people. I know I love how mini skirts look on some people. I love how jumpsuits look on some people, but they're not for me. And filling this in completely from my perspective of actually, well, how would I feel wearing that if it was super tight? How would I feel wearing that if it was super loose? Was amazing. It was really, really eye-opening, and I'm going to print that out and stick that in here and keep that as a reference when I'm doodling up my outfits, because it's so easy to fall into a trap of going, oh yeah, you know, like the little boxy cropped blazer that's really fitted, that's really hot, I really like that look. But while I like that look potentially on someone else or in a magazine, I'm not going to be happy wearing that myself. I don't like things that are too tight and too structured. I quite like fitted tops, but not anything that's too structured, because then I feel a bit boxed in. So it's really useful. I would absolutely recommend the Wardrobe Architect over and over again, any day of the week. You should definitely check it out. It's been a really good place for me to start my planning, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that translates into the ideas that I come up with and what I actually end up making. Before we move on to Knit and Natter, I wanted to share some news with you. It feels like I'm always sharing news with you, and thank you, by the way, for everyone who sent congratulations about my new job. That really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. But I have further news. Last weekend, we booked our tickets and our place to stay for Edinburgh in March, which, yes, means I am going to Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I am so excited. This is my big birthday treat. I will be 30 and we are going to Edinburgh for my 30th. I'm really, really excited. I have never been to EYF before. I've been to Edinburgh before, but only during the summer festival. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Edinburgh as it normally is. We are going for 5 days. I don't yet know what day I will be going to EYF. We haven't booked our tickets for that just yet. We are kind of trying to figure out what we want to do with the days. If you have any recommendations for places to eat, things to see, things to do, places we should definitely check out, great walks. We are big fans of walking. Please let me know. I would absolutely love to try as much as I can while I'm there. As I say, we're there for 5 days, so we've got quite a lot of time to fill outside of the festival. We are going for 5 days because it seemed a bit sad to go only for a couple of days, and also I wanted Rich to be able to do some things that weren't just following me around a yarn festival. So I'm really looking forward to meeting lots of great people, buying lots of yarn, and I will potentially be going to the podcaster lounge. I don't yet know how I feel about that. I'm not sure I've been podcasting long enough to qualify, but I am definitely going to look into it, and I will let you know if I'm going to be there, and I will let you know nearer the time what day I will be at EYF, and I hope to meet lots of you there. I'm so excited, I just can't wait. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. And finally, let's move on to Knit and Natter. In this week's Knit and Natter, I wanted to talk a bit about the Women's March that's happening this weekend. Unfortunately, I'm not in London, and there isn't one down here in Portsmouth or anywhere nearby. But if I was in London, I would absolutely be marching, and my heart is very much with the people who are marching in London, in the USA, and around the world. As I mentioned earlier, we did watch the inauguration at work, mostly with a sense of disbelief, I think. I hope that things will be okay, but I am incredibly proud to be part of a community that has raised its voice and has taken something that Trump said about women and how he feels that he can treat women, and have taken that and have used it to power a march. I think the Pussy Hat Project is a fantastic thing, and I look so forward to seeing the streets filled with those bright pink knitted hats. And I just wanted to encourage everyone who is marching, or everyone like me who couldn't go there, no matter what, you have a voice. And we are a fantastic community, and we can work together to ensure that everybody's rights are looked after and cared for. And I think that it's a really positive thing that people aren't just sitting back and hoping for the best. They are going out there and making their feelings known and saying, this is not what we want to stand for. We want worldwide for there to be rights for everyone, for no matter what your sex, no matter what your sexuality, no matter your race. And I think that that is a fantastic thing. And it was not a good election. I know that many people over here in the UK watched with the same concern that we felt when we were dealing with the EU referendum earlier in the year. And it was again one of those things that made 2016 a bit of a downer, because there was a lot of hatred thrown around, more so than any other election that I've seen. There's always a lot of, trash talk, for want of a better phrase, but this was a particularly nasty election, and a lot of things have come out that are not quite what you would hope for in a leader, particularly one as powerful as President Trump now is. I hope to see that people's voices are heard. He said in his speech that power was going back to the people, and I hope that that is true. But I would just like to encourage you to look after the people around you, to vocalize when you see something isn't right. I think that this is a fantastic opportunity for us all to remember that we do not just have to sit back and allow things to happen to us and to our country and to our lives. We can go out on the streets and march. We can make our voices heard, and we do have that power. And I would just like to encourage you to get involved. If it speaks to you, get involved in any way you can. And if you don't have the capability to get to a march, or you're not strong enough or well enough, or for whatever reason, that's okay. There are so many other ways you can get involved, and I would like to share that on the podcast. As I hear of things, I would like to share that on the podcast, because while I try to keep this a cheerful, friendly, positive place, I think that there are some things that you have to address. And equality in all its forms is the most important thing. It's the foundation that we should build everything on, that all people are equal no matter what. No matter your sex, your gender, your sexuality, your race. And that is something that we can never be complacent about, no matter what. And I just wanted to express my pride in the women and the men and the children, all of the people who are taking to the streets or who knitted hats to make a point. And even though I cannot be there with you, I really, really wish I could. I massively regret that I cannot be. And I am watching, and I have a lot of pride, and I am with you. And I think that we are all in this together, and I would encourage you to help in any way you can. And I will be certainly looking out for ways I can help in the future. I will share them with you. And yeah, I considered talking about the difference between selfishness and self-care in this week's Knit and Natter. But when there are people taking to the streets to make it clear that they support equality in all forms, when you have people in power who are saying things that I cannot agree with in any way, I understand that he was elected, and that's fine, that's not something I'm going to get into, but I just couldn't talk about something else this week, and I had to say something, and I hope that's okay. I have no wish to offend anyone whatsoever, but I don't see anything offensive in expressing that equality is important and it matters, and every single one of us should be raising our voices in support of it. There are so many things in this world that we need to protect and that we need to further the cause of, and yeah, I just think that we should all work together to make sure that that happens. Thank you very much for spending some time with me this week. I hope you have a really great week, and I will see you next week for another cup of tea. Take care. Bye.